Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Pro. Yeah, wow. I almost said Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk. Extreme Sports Talk. We got a special episode, one of three. We are going to be talking about the Johnstown Chiefs, which is very well. A lot of memories for me. Reese, not so much for you because you wasn't born yet. So you're just here for the ride and to hear some stories.
Yes, sir.
And Springer, how old was you when the Johnstown Chiefs first came to town?
I was the ripe age of 5.
Wow. Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
So, but anybody that's watching, the Johnstown Chiefs, they were a minor league hockey team in our town for many, many years, and we're going to get into many years of the Johnstown Chiefs. But the episode tonight is going to basically just focus on the original team from 1987, 1988. So if you didn't know, the Johnstown Chiefs came into the league, which was known as the AAHL, the All-American Hockey League. So they came, I want to say they came mid-season. Am I right? Am I correct on that, Springer?
Yeah, they came into mid-season, and they also left mid-season as well.
Yes. Yep. But anyway, Joe Selinsky was the coach. He was the very first coach. So a little note to this: Joe, the head coach, Joe Selinsky, had to go from Johnstown all the way up to Canada to get hockey jerseys because they did not have any jerseys, and they were within a day or two. Am I right, Springer?
Yep. Yeah, and the only colors he could find was black and gold.
And white. Yep. So he actually called when he got to Canada. He called somebody at the War Memorial and said, "Hey, this is the only colors that they got, and this is how much they want." He didn't have enough money, so right. the guy at the War Memorial said, "Okay, I'll pay for it with my credit card." So that's how they got their very first uniforms.
Yeah.
Huh, interesting.
Do you know how they got the name the Chiefs, Larry?
Tell us, Springer.
So they really wanted to be the Jets, after the Slapshot guys. But,
yes.
That name was already taken, and they wouldn't give it up. So the team that the Johnstown Jets always played was I think it's the Charlottesville Chiefs. So they took a vote of everybody in Johnstown, and because of the movie, they all voted the Chiefs. And that's how they became the Johnstown Chiefs.
Yes.
Huh.
It is very cool. So they ended up, their first year, they ended up playing 26 games. Like I said, they came in mid-season. Reese, 26 games. What do you think their record was for that season?
They're 13-13.
You must have looked it up.
It's right beside me.
Okay. and they had 26 points. So that's not too bad for a makeshift hockey team.
No, did they have any? Like how? So how did they get those players?
Well, there's many stories that goes into this, but apparently, I wasn't joking. Springer might be able to help me on this, but it was a makeshift team. Like when they found out they were joining the league, they needed uniforms and they needed players. They signed a lease for the Cambria County War Memorial, but they didn't have no uniforms or players.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they pretty much just picked up. I mean, guys that were left over, guys that weren't signed, a lot of older guys, that were, not playing anywhere currently. A lot of local guys just wanted to give it a whirl again. So yeah, it really was a ragtag group.
It really was.
So to even the break even, I mean, that had to show a lot about like the grit and determination of the team.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is how hockey is. You can study the group and see who their best players were, or who their fighting guys were, the best defensemen. You couldn't really do that with this group. So I mean, it was pretty much like, you had no book on them, so you didn't know what you were going up against, how to defend or anything. So
no, and to get into that, nobody knew these guys like Springer just said. But Springer, what a hell of a team that Johnstown had with just picking up these.
Yeah.
I don't want to say rejects, but like you said, nobody wanted.
Right.
When teams came into the War Memorial, they thought easy win. It's going to be an easy win.
Yeah.
How many fans can they get into this place? There ain't going to be many fans. Well, let me tell you, that place was packed.
Well, yeah, they serve beer. I mean, you go to Johnstown, you serve beer, you'll attract all sorts of people.
Well, okay, but in that defense, they sell beer now at the Tomahawks game, and it's never like the Johnstown Chiefs crowd, ever.
Yeah, you know what though? You got to think about it, Larry. Back then, I mean, that's what we had. Now you have so many options of entertainment, but back then you had, there was very limited entertainment that people could afford. So going to a hockey game local, I mean, you look at even the Steelers, or when they start out, their fan base is so huge because that's all they had. So the same thing in Johnstown. This is all we had, and we love our hometown teams.
Yes. Springer, just off the top of your head, do you happen to remember how much tickets cost back then, that season?
I bet you it was less than $5.
Yeah, I want to say it was around $6. Not much more.
Yeah.
And
beer is probably $1.50.
I was a little too young for that.
Icy Light Pounders.
But like we were saying, you had the Knoxville Cherokees that were in this league. You had the Virginia Lancers. Man, who else was there? Springer.
I don't know.
I can't think off the top of my head.
That's a Reese answer. I don't know.
Go to hell.
Oh, Erie Panthers. You had the Erie Panthers.
You had the Dayton Jets, the Carolina Thunderbirds, Danville Fighting Saints.
Yes, that's right. You're right.
Yeah. Lincoln Park was part of the league. Then they became a band.
Yeah. So like I said, Reese, when these teams came into Johnstown, they're assuming easy win. They're going to beat the shit out of the Chiefs because they're nobodies. Well, them teams got to run for their money. Let me tell you. I'm gonna name some notable players that we had that year, and we'll get into them a little bit into detail. So I'm gonna leave the very best for last. I would say, all right.
Okay.
But so you had Brock Kelly. Do you remember Brock Kelly?
I don't, Larry, to be honest with you.
Well, he was a 6'2" defenseman, 196 pounds. He's a lot bit. It looks a lot bigger. I think he was bigger.
Yeah.
These stats that I got that can't be accurate.
Right.
Or not stats, but his height and stuff. But he had 3 seasons with the Chiefs. Now remember, one was only 26 games.
Yeah.
Okay. So he had 2 full seasons and that season with 26 games. He had 680 penalty minutes total. He
That's
was
340 penalties, basically.
Yeah. He was the fighter of the team.
Well, unless he had a couple 10-minute majors and everything.
Oh, well, yes, he did. I'm sure he did.
Having all them penalty minutes, I'm sure he got a couple majors.
Yes. Now, there was a few fighters on that team, but definitely Brock Kelly was the main fighter of that team.
And those are just the guys they got from Scott's by Dam.
Yes. So, a little story about Brock Kelly. All right. So, when Erie Panthers came to town, there was a guy named Grant Ottenbright, which he was feared in this league because he was the badass. He was bigger, stronger than Brock Kelly, supposedly by on paper. He was feared. So when Erie came to town, one game down, it was me, my mom, my stepdad, and my grandfather would go to these games. So if you remember, if you're looking at the War Memorial where the Zamboni comes in, do you know where that's at?
Yeah.
All right. So back then, you was allowed to stand there and watch the game.
Ah.
So they were down there standing. I wasn't allowed to stand there at the ice because I was a little tight back then. But Erie was in town, and the puck came into that corner, and who comes skating down the ice to go for this puck? Brock Kelly and Grant Ottenbright. 2 big, pardon my French, 2 big fucking boys. Okay? Huge. Okay? So, I'm not sure who hits first, but whoever hit first, the other one hit right after it. They busted through the Zamboni door. They went through the Zamboni door, knocked over the people that were standing there, including my grandfather, my mom, and my stepdad. And like I said, whoever else was standing there.
Did you push your mom out, in the way so you could get out of the way?
No. I was sitting in the seat up out of the way.
He wasn't allowed to be down there.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Because he was a big tyke.
So they stopped the game, and obviously both guys landed on the floor by the Zamboni. So my grandfather walks over and extends his hand to Grant Ottenbright, and Grant says, "Go fuck yourself."
No way.
Wow.
To my grandfather, and my grandfather said, "Okay, you get up on your own." So, but that was probably my fondest memory of that year when they broke through that Zamboni door.
Wow.
Yep. So moving on, you also had Bob Delaney, which was a goalie. Toby O'Brien, which was a goalie. And we will hear more of Toby O'Brien's name in the upcoming episodes because he does come back as a head coach.
Yep.
So, and then you got Scott Retwo. I think I'm saying that right. Scott Retwo.
He was our leading goal scorer, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. And I'm going to get into that here in a second too, Springer.
All right, striker.
And then we had Darren Cervezas, which was my favorite player on the team. He was a defenseman that is nicknamed Lefty. And unfortunately, he is no longer with us. He just passed away not too long ago. But he was definitely he was my favorite of the Chiefs. But he played 3 seasons for the Chiefs, and he had 523 penalty minutes. He was also a fighter. So, Reese, are you seeing this? Like, there's a lot of fighters on this team.
So when Kelly was in the box, it was Cervezas' turn to step up and
exactly. Brawl. You got it. But so now we're moving on to the next player. So when Brock Kelly and Cervezas wasn't available, we had a guy named Rick Boyd. Boyd. He played 6 seasons with the Chiefs. Not all together. He got traded away once or twice, I believe. Then came back the next season or after or something. But he was the fan favorite. He was my favorite fighter. He was the go-to.
Yeah.
You know, when the coach said, "Hey, we need something done," Rick Boyd was on that ice, and you was guaranteed somebody was getting hit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like I said, he did have 966 penalty minutes in the 6 seasons. So that's telling you a lot.
Yeah.
Good God. Them 3 guys, unbelievable. For, you know, I'm not saying that they were NHL caliber players, which by no means they were, or they weren't. But for being basically pickup, that was a damn good team.
Well, you really look at it. I mean, they led the league in least amount of goals given up, and that's probably why. I mean, you know, that's kind of the our breed is we build them tough, and
yes,
they put a tough hockey team on the ice, and that's what we love, and that's why we fell in love with the Chiefs.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, you may come here, but you're going to come here and you're going to leave a little bit bruised and a little bit battered.
Well, I can guarantee you, after the first couple of games that these teams came into Johnstown, they realized that Johnstown wasn't anybody to mess with. I mean, Reese, I'm telling you, that place was jam-packed every night that they had a game, and you was guaranteed at least 3 fights a game. At least.
Yeah. And if it was Erie in the building, there's 6 or 7 fights a game.
Yes. Yep.
But, you know, you think about it, Larry, from Slapshot, you know what I mean? When we looked at that movie, that's the hockey team we wanted, and we had it early on.
Yes, you're right. I'm trying to think of. I might not have the name right, but there was a gentleman in Johnstown that came out with a video. His name was Doug Heck. I think it was Heck's Productions or something like that. The name of the video was The Fighting Chiefs on VHS. I had it back then. I wish I still had it, Reese, so that you can watch it. I'm sure you can go onto YouTube and search Johnstown Chiefs fights, and you would see it.
Oh, yeah. There were some epic fights.
Oh, man. Gosh. So getting off of the fighting aspect of the game, I mentioned Scott Retwo. And he was premature saying that he led the team in goals, but he had 36 goals. Remind you, Reese, again, 26 games.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm no genius, but you do the math.
Yeah, that's more than a goal game.
Damn, you're good.
I mean, Reese, you may put you on the mathletes team.
I'll be the second overall pick right behind Larry.
And also, leading the team in assists was another fan favorite was Robbie Herstack. I think I'm saying his last name right. Herstack.
Hertsack.
Yeah, Hertsack. No,
like what happens to you, Larry, when you sit down wrong.
Oh my God. And he had 45 assists that season.
Huh.
That's almost 2 points a game.
What
Reese is trying to do it in his head.
No, what was his role?
He was the water boy.
Who?
Herstacks. Like what he
He was a goal scorer. He was a goal scorer. I don't think he fought a lot.
Like, was he a winger or
center? He was a center.
Yeah, he was a center.
Left-handed center. Out of Saskatoon, Canada.
Saskatchewan. Try saying that once, Reese.
Saskatchewan.
Oh, all right. You made me look bad, asshole. Anyway, so
kill his tiger.
Yeah. So we had a tie with 61 points. Scott Retwo and Rob Herstack each had 61 points that season. So can you guess who led the team in penalty minutes that season? In 26 games?
Brock Kelly.
With how many?
247.
You must be looking it up.
I have the sheet right in front of me, dude.
The sheet you gave us, Larry.
All right. Damn.
Reese, I'm proud that you can read, my friend.
Knowing who my dad is, it's amazing that I can read.
Now you're bringing in a wrestling podcast. Come on now.
I didn't say anything about wrestling.
Well, you just said about your dad. You meant JJ,
yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah.
Oh, see, you can't do that shit, guy.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Smokey.
I was talking about Pee Wee Reese.
Do you have anything to add, Springer?
No, you're doing a fine job.
I know. I mean, I win all kinds of awards. I mean, don't you already know?
What award are you winning? Oh, good
I'm
Lord.
a king.
You know what, though? If I really think about it, this is Larry King live.
Oh.
Yes. But getting back to the Johnstown Chiefs, all seriousness, that was probably one of the best things that's happened to Johnstown. Now, don't ask me how I remember this because I don't know. Springer, you may or may not know, but I remember this. So when the Johnstown Chiefs scored 7 goals, you got something if they scored 7 goals.
Yeah, what the heck was that? Oh man, what free? I can't. Wasn't it was a free sandwich somewhere?
Nope, you're close. It was a free hot dog from Sheetz.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, free Sheetz hot dog.
So, I mean, don't ask me how I know that or remember that because, as you can see, I don't eat many hot dogs. But I do remember that. and just, thinking about the memories going with my grandfather to the games and my mom and stuff, that that was a fun time when you was young.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I went with my dad. We went to a lot of hockey games down there.
looking up to them guys, you're small and they look like they're this big. They look like they're massive. And you look up to the guys. And then you would always stay after the game, wait for them to get showered, come out of the locker room, and you would get their autographs.
Yeah.
I
had the little Chiefs mini stick.
So did I.
All
yes.
Signed, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Another story I do remember. I can't remember who it was. We were waiting in a concourse for them to come out, and this player came out. Like I said, I can't remember who it is, but he comes out and he has a cigarette in his mouth and he's smoking away, and he's in the concourse with the people signing autographs. I mean, who does that? Nobody now.
No.
The Johnstown Chiefs, like we said, you don't mess with the Johnstown Chiefs. That was badass. You come out with a cigarette hanging out of your mouth, smoking it.
Right.
That's tough.
Hey, Larry, do you know that I was famous at the Johnstown Chiefs game?
No.
1993, buddy. You remember how at the intermission, they'd put the board out there, just a little slot, and you had one shot from half ice to get it.
Yes.
I got it.
Really?
I hit it. Yep.
That's very cool. Do you remember what you won?
I won $100 gas card. I was only 12, so it went to my parents.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I'd fill your tank up to 5/8 today.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, but I won $100. I got the goal.
So how did you get to go out on there? Was it just a randomized selection?
Tickets. They just picked the seat in the section, and I had the ticket. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember going out there the whole time. I'm going, don't fall in the ice. That's all I cared about. I didn't want to go out there and biff it,
Yeah. And
so
how old was you?
I was only 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did they cheer you and make you feel larger than life?
Oh yeah, like when I went in, everybody's like, yeah, I took a lap around, grabbed the cup, I was holding it up,
Reese, I'm telling you, once we get off of the show, go on and just Google Johnstown Chiefs, and watch some of them videos. I'm telling you, you'd be amazed.
Yeah.
So another quick story before we get off of here. Like I said, our goalie was Bob Delaney. And I can't remember who they were playing. But it was a blowout game. The Chiefs got blown out, and he played the full game. I remember, and we were sitting at that time or that game. We were sitting right behind the glass, right behind the goalie. So we were in the first row, and I took a little piece of paper that said "Happy Birthday, Bob," because somehow I found out it was Bob Delaney's birthday, and like I said earlier, I was little, and and I'm sure it's still the same. When your team's getting blown out, the hometown crowd boos you. They let you know that you suck. You know what I mean, right, Springer?
Yeah.
Reese, it's still the same way today.
Yep.
Yeah, we boo you all the time, Larry.
Yeah, until they realize who I am. Yeah. But anyway, bunch of hooligans here. So anyway, the crowd's getting on them, and you have me, I'm holding up my little sign, says "Happy Birthday, Bob," and so he turns around and looks at me, and it gives me a little nudge, that he saw that I was the little kid with the sign that was the only person that wasn't getting on the ship, and he gave me the little nod for his birthday, which at that time I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Now, Larry, do you remember when they would be getting killed? I swear they just went out and started fist fighting everybody. Then there was always like fight after fight, because that was then we were all pumped up. You know what I mean? But if they were going to lose, they were going to go out and beat the snot out of somebody.
It was like a lumber yard.
Yeah,
they had to win at something.
I mean, Reese,
there's wood flying everywhere.
Reese, you watched the movie Slapshot, right?
Yeah.
That is the Johnstown Chiefs. You know that? Am I right, Springer?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you had sticks for swinging, and
I remember they'd throw water bottles over to the other. They'd be whipping water bottles up into the other guy's bench and everything.
Yeah. I mean, blood. I mean, the blood that was on that ice. Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah, they'd go out and they'd have to scrape it all out.
Yep.
And they held grudges. I mean, there'd be a guy, they'd fight, they'd wait 3 weeks, 4 weeks till they came again. They'd pound the snot out of them a second time.
And you knew Erie's coming to town Wednesday.
Oh yeah,
Wednesday night, and you know Grant Altenbright's going to get into a fight. Whether it was with Brock Kelly or Rick Boyd, I mean, you knew at least 2 or 3 fights were going to happen that night.
Right.
So I mean, I always look forward to that. I mean, that was the best time of probably one of the best memories. I had a lot of memories, like I said. So
what was your favorite concession stand food, Larry?
Everyone.
Deep fried pickles.
No, they didn't have that stuff. You had hamburgers, hot dogs, Fox's Pizza, and nachos and cheese.
Yeah.
Popcorn. That was it.
That was it.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
Yep. So, Springer, when you heard, do you remember where you was when you heard that there was a team coming to the AAHL known as the Johnstown Chiefs? Do you remember hearing that, or were you know?
I was in kindergarten, Larry.
So you don't. All right. I do remember where I was. And this is a very, very, it's going to go back to some memories.
How old are you, Larry?
I am 43.
Okay.
So I was at the old GB's store.
Yeah, I remember GB's.
I can't remember who I was. I mean, I had to have been with my grandfather or my mom or my stepdad. But if you remember in the back where they had their TVs, they had them lined up in the back and they were always on.
Yeah.
I can't remember what else was in that section, but I remember Tim Rigby coming on the news and, you know, breaking. I can't remember if it was breaking news or, excuse me, what it was. But Tim Rigby came on and said, breaking news, you know, Johnstown's is getting a minor league hockey team. It's going to be known as the Johnstown Chiefs. And I'm sitting there watching it up on the wall as he's making this announcement. So that's where I was. I was at GB's.
Wow.
Huh.
Don't ask me how I remember that because I can't remember what I did 2 hours ago, but I do remember where I was.
Speaking of GB's, I found a lawn dart game in my attic that I must have got from GB's back in the day. Like the real lawn darts.
Oh, wow. That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. But I guess that, you know, that pretty much wraps up our part one of the Johnstown Chiefs segment or show.
Yeah, it was good reminiscing.
It was. We are going to have 2 more parts 2 and 3. And we'll get into more of the middle. Part 2 is going to be more of the the middle era, Bruce Coles. I know, that's one of your favorites. He was one of my favorites also. But I don't want to release too many names right now because I want everybody to come back on and watch part 2 of our Johnstown Chiefs show. But it's going to get interesting. It's going to get very interesting. So anybody that watches this, if you know any Johnstown Chiefs players currently now, have them shoot us a message. We would love to have them on. We would like to talk to them and hear some stories that they got to say about their time in Johnstown. So, Reese, you look bored.
I had an idea come to my mind. I'll tell you off camera.
Okay. But that is it, guys. Part 1 of the Johnstown Chiefs on EST, Extreme Sports Talk. I didn't mess it up this time.
You got it right, buddy.
But we appreciate you watching, and please check out our YouTube channel. It is under the Extreme Network. There you can see our Pro Wrestling Extreme Talk podcast and EST Extreme Sports Talk, both on the same channel. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And if we get 1,000 subscribers within a week, Springer will take his top off.
And Larry will get flare chopped by Big Lenny.
See, there you go. You're bringing in wrestling into the sports podcast again.
What did you just say? You did the cheap plug.
I'm doing it for our YouTube channel. I didn't mention any names.
Yeah, I'm doing it for the YouTube page too.
I can't deal with him, Springer. We got to talk about his contract.
I'm gonna go down to.
Don't worry, it's day to day.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, it was fun talking Johnstown Chiefs, and Reese, thank you for just sitting there and looking pretty as usual.
Somebody has to.
Yeah. So, until next time, part 2 of the Johnstown Chiefs will be coming. Until next time, I'm Stryker, The Game, and Reese. Thanks for watching.